Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Haas, and today we're going to be talking about one of the most prospective cryptocurrencies that I have, which is KSM or Kusama. Today we're going to be talking about what KSM is, what new things that are coming that might change the price, and also we're going to be discussing the charts and tokenomics of KSM to talk about how high we think KSM can go. Before we get into it, go ahead and give the video a like. It really helps share the video out to multiple people. And also, we're about to hit 2,300 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate a subscribe, especially if you find value in this video. All right, let's get into it. So we are talking about KSM or Kusama. Now, Kusama is the canary network for Polkadot. So canary putting it in a coal mine to test whether or not it's safe for the miners to go down. It's the same thought process among classifying what KSM is. However, it's not exactly a testnet or a sandbox for Polkadot. It's its own infrastructure and its own ecosystem of projects and other things that are also going to be going hand in hand with a lot of Polkadot structures. If you think about it this way, Polkadot is the structured, really thought out and vetted parachains, whereas Kusama is a little bit less of a barrier of entry, more operating in an open source aspect and allowing more people to bridge onto the network and create their individual projects. So while the two projects are very, very similar in terms of the code base, how the system is directed is much different. Now, Kusama is built on the substrate codebase, which is exactly the same as Polkadot, so it has the same infrastructure and codebase, which makes it an ideal testing network to move projects into the Polkadot infrastructure. But that doesn't mean that Kusama isn't going to have its own infrastructure and its own ecosystem completely separate from what Polkadot can have, specifically because of the lack of restrictions to get into the KSM network. Now, KSM, just like Polkadot, was founded by Dr. Gavin Wood, and also Dr. Gavin Wood had a good hand in creating Ethereum with both Vitalik Buterin and Charles Hoskinson. Kusama is very intriguing for any developer that wants to make a custom project and bring it onto the blockchain, especially with KSM having the same sort of abilities as Polkadot, but more of a free reign, wild west type of ecosystem. Makes it particularly appealing for specific projects that maybe didn't feel at home in the Polkadot infrastructure, which is one reason why I'm specifically a little bit bullish on KSM. Now, I am bullish on KSM because of how it can interact with Polkadot and Polkadot DeFi. And also we have the auctions of the Parachains coming up and everything else. So there's a lot of changes and a lot of things that are going to impact both the Polkadot price and the KSM price. So it's not unreasonable to think that both of them are going to rise in the same order, but I do think right now, as it stands, KSM is a little bit undervalued compared to where it could go. We're going to be talking about exactly why I think that in terms of the ranking of cryptocurrencies and how much market cap I think KSM can gather. In terms of the charts, again, I have mentioned numerous things about KSM. I did mention that we wouldn't see a KSM below $400. That, of course, was tested in terms of a wick that went below the $400. I would hazard a guess here that not many of you took advantage of this wick, obviously, but it did close above that 400. So I do think that there's a lot of stability where KSM is now. I feel that KSM, just like any other project, after a pump, it has to consolidate in some regards, but KSM is one of those projects that just keeps pumping over a good period of time. Now, right now, KSM is sitting at approximately $433, and that's from its all-time high of $564, approximately around there. In terms of the chart and tokenomics, so we've talked about the KSM chart before, how bullish the chart looks in terms of its long-term trend. Now, unfortunately, we don't have much data in terms of referencing a bear market, because even during the bear market here, KSM, it did have its times, but it was on a gradual incline. So we could definitely see it inclining throughout the bear market, which I think is going to be indicative of how it'll move in the future, just because of the system, how it works. I do think that there's a lot of stability in how the charts move for KSM. So again, I don't think KSM is one of those tokens that'll suffer massive dips unless the crypto market entirely is crashing, in which case, you know, KSM's going to follow the markets. It's the same with if the crypto market goes down and the NASDAQ dropped, right? You can correlate the two and understand, okay, this is why it dropped. But typically, KSM doesn't have as dramatic retracements as other cryptocurrencies have. Of course, that can always change. There isn't a lot of money in the system though, which is why I'm kind of basing my bet off this. Going over historic trends of KSM like I said, if we do see a massive retracement, I think it'll be due to a crypto market crash, not something with KSM specific. In terms of KSM in the long term, so we've talked about the Parachains going live and everything else. KSM has a huge part to play in terms of Polkadot DeFi and the other DeFi units when we're talking about PSwap and other DEXs. I'm excited to see what is going to come out in terms of KSM. I have the KSM wallet, which is going to be used for PSwap and a few other decentralized exchanges, but I don't have anything stored on it yet, mainly because I am storing my KSM on Kraken. Now, if you do have KSM, you can go ahead and store it on Kraken for a 12% APY. All you have to do is buy KSM on Kraken or move it to Kraken, and then go to your stake wallet, click stake, and then add the KSM specifically to your staking pool. This nets a 12% APY. Of course, if you are willing to run a node by yourself and you have enough KSM, you can do it. It's a little bit more technical than what I'm willing to do right now. So for me, Kraken provides a healthy APY that I'm more than happy to have my KSM with them. So we've talked about the tokenomics before. We're just going to highlight over it and go again and discuss where we think KSM can go. So again, the price of the token isn't important here. It's the actual market cap divided by the circulating supply or the maximum supply. So right now we're sitting at about a $3.9 billion market cap, just shy of that number. We're at almost 9 million circulating supply of tokens and a max supply of 10 million tokens. So obviously the maximum supply is much less, which is why the actual token price is so high, because there's less tokens to spread the market cap among. Now, that's a very bare bones understanding, but this is how I want you guys to be starting to thinking about market caps. The market cap divided by the circulating supply is going to net the coin token price. So again, if the circulating supply is low, but the price is high, that just means that there's not a lot of tokens, so the price is divided out amongst all the tokens. Now, obviously, everyone's wondering this question is how much can KSM be worth in the future? Obviously, a lot of this is going to be speculation, and it's really dependent on how well Polkadot DeFi goes, how well the Parachains go, and everything else. But I do think KSM and Polkadot are both solid projects, solid code bases made by solid people. So I'm really bullish on where KSM can go, especially the fact that it's a little bit more of the Wild West aspect of Polkadot. Now, I have mentioned before that I do think KSM can reach the top 20 ranking of crypto. If you look right now, the top 20, so VeChain is 8.6. It's roughly just over 100% of what KSM's current market cap is. But this is probably the target that I'm looking at in terms of the ranking. Now, I'm not saying that we're hitting an 8.6 billion market cap. I'm saying that we're probably going to hit a much higher market cap. And the reason being is because all of these market caps are still pending a big pump. Even VeChain, we've talked about VeChain before on this channel. VeChain has pumped a lot. I've even considered making a video about VeChain recently. I have made a video before about VeChain. I hold a healthy amount of VeChain, really happy about the pump. But I do think that there's a lot more room for these tokens to go, and I do think VeChain is definitely a top 20 cryptocurrency. So I do think KSM has its spot within top 20, but I also think that the top 20 is going to increase as well. So whatever top 20 ends up being by the end of the market cycle is where KSM, I believe, will be. Okay, so when you factor that in, how high do I think KSM can go? Right now, in terms of the crypto market cap, I'm looking at approximately about a 5x from here in terms of the cycle. I would say that that's probably as bullish as I'm willing to be on a video. Obviously, my speculation mind will say, we could definitely hit an 8x, but I think conservatively, and even conservative mind, a $10 trillion market cap for all of crypto is a huge amount. But I do think a 5x is in order for the rest of the crypto market cap. So I believe that we can translate that in the same as KSM. So if we take the VeChain market cap right now, and then we times that by 5, we get approximately about a 43 billion market cap. So that means right now, if KSM were to actually pump at that rate, we could see a KSM of approximately $4,700. Now again, you're probably looking at this in terms of a bullish standpoint. I'm definitely bringing this from a way more bullish light than I would bearish, but I'm probably representing that more so because of how the charts are and how the project, in my opinion, is one of those extremely bullish projects. So I do think KSM is going to far outperform what it is right now. It absolutely can hit that 10x mark, being at around $4,300. Obviously, to my assessment a little bit more, because I do think it's undervalued at its current price point today. But again, it's probably undervalued because a lot of the Polkadot Parachain systems aren't actually live yet. And then once we do see those coming live, once we see the auctions happening with KSM, and then we have the Polkadot DeFi coming through, we will see a lot more activity, a lot more developers, and a lot more projects bringing value to the KSM network, which are going to flood investors like us into the network. So right now, I would say that if you hold some Polkadot and you don't hold KSM, I would absolutely be grabbing some, especially now. Even if you're somebody that DCA'd Polkadot and you don't want to buy Polkadot at these levels, these are the levels to buy KSM. Because right now, actively, I look at this as almost a half off price. I think right now KSM should be a lot more than what it is. And this could all be speculation, but I do see the project as being extremely undervalued. And I think that'll show and highlight once everything is live with the Polkadot and KSM system. Let's put this in perspective, looking at the chart, because I think this is where people don't understand exactly how big these chart moves can be. And essentially, if we're going to around $4,500, that is a huge percentage. And I'm not unaware of that percentage and what I'm calling for. So we're looking at approximately 1,000% increase to get to the market cap that I had quoted. So around $4,700, around 1,000%. So I wanted to take a look at the chart, because sometimes these prices can just seem like, prices that are being thrown out. And I do recognize that how big this price is, but I feel that I've given enough mathematics behind my prediction to identify why I've made this price. But we do know that approximately 1,000% increase is going to bring us to about a 4,300 KSM. And I do think that we can reach a little bit higher, being around the 4,700 mark. In terms of a crash, I really don't know what would happen with KSM, if it would crash a full amount like rest of cryptocurrencies or other markets. We don't have enough data to show what it'll do exactly in a crash, but that's the same story for a lot of cryptos. So we really don't have a good picture of history in terms of KSM, and as well, even the things that I've discussed about in terms of the very bullish chart and the uptrend always going up, that doesn't have to always stay. I don't have to always be correct about that. It could actually go down as well. So you do need to keep that in the back of your mind as well when you're investing in something. But when you're investing in things like KSM, Polkadot, Cardano, VeChain, and other projects, you want to look at the utility and where this project is going to be in the next 5 to 10 to 15 years. Just remember that, sure, we're all here to make some money in this bull market, and we are going to make some money, definitely, especially if you take my advice in terms of when to cash out and take a little bit of profits off the table. But really, when you're investing in blockchain technology, you really need to look at it from the mindset of we're in the starting of the internet. So a good portion of my viewers are around 30 years old or more, same age as I am. We all remember those times where we went from Commodore 64s to Pentium 2s, we had dial-up, we went to DSL, cable. There's going to be that infrastructure increase over time, and we're in the same sort of time frame in terms of cryptocurrency at this point. But that just goes to show exactly how early, how ridiculously early we all are to this. Just think about it now. You're investing in things like Polkadot, you're investing in things like Cardano, you're investing in things like Ethereum, and all of these other really good projects, KSM being one of them. You're doing this while most of their mainnets aren't even live. We're still waiting on the ETH 2.0, for example. ETH 2.0 has a lot of infrastructure challenges to come across before it's really the monster machine that it wants to be. And that's the same thing for Cardano. That's the same thing for Polkadot. And it's the same thing for KSM. We are here before the main nets are truly live and operational. We are here before mass adoption. We are here before the bulk of retail investors. And that's important to recognize. When you're looking at cryptocurrencies, you want to make sure that you're looking at good projects that are going to stand the test of time. And I truly believe that KSM is easily one of those projects. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a like. It really helps share the video out to everyone that needs it. Also, if I gave you some value out of this video, go ahead and give me a subscribe. Really appreciate the support already. We're almost at 2,300 subs. So again, really appreciate it. All right, everyone. Happy hodling.